Welcome back to The Critics, our look at the big hits and the huge misses from the summer 2012 movie season. It's time for our picks for the best of the summer. Amy.
Well, as you know, my favorite, not only of the summer, but of the year so far, has got to be Moonrise Kingdom. Wes Anderson's beautiful fable of these two kids in Rhode Island who make this cross-island trek.
Right.
And it's just terrific. It's very quirky, so as Jim said before, your tolerance for quirk really determines whether you like the film. I love Wes Anderson. I do quirky, and it spoke to me on many levels.
I did quirky for Fantastic Mr. Fox. I love that movie, but here it was just too quirky. It was too out there. He didn't focus as much on the characters, and he just...
See, I love the characters. And I found it deeply human in a way that maybe some of his other films haven't been. And then my other favorite film of the summer so far is Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is Ben Zeitlin's fantasy, I suppose, drama, study of this extraordinary child in the Louisiana Delta. And it's one of the most unusual movies I've seen in ages. It's just nice to see a film that's totally different from other films. And the central performance by this girl, Quvenzhané Wallis, it's not even a performance, it's just a fact. And she's just stunning.
I thought it was good, but it wasn't extraordinary. It wasn't powerful enough. Her narration, there were just too many big words. You wouldn't have this little girl saying all this stuff and all of her thoughts coming out.
Giant saber-toothed wild boar either. But that is one of the really unique movies of the summer, and
it is different.
It's a realistic looking fantasy, and it's
that's well said. Yeah,
the way this movie is directed, which I think genuinely is extraordinary, is to take an almost documentarian approach to even the production design of the movie is a little over the top. And there's always something slightly unreal about it, except that it's being photographed like it's being done for a PBS documentary.
Very naturalistic in the way it's done,
And I agree with you that we have a genuine find here with a child star who does not come out of the cookie cutter mold.
She was good. I will give you that. She was good.
That is a movie that really... Sometimes a movie with me benefits if I have a little bit of time to think about it afterwards, and this happened to be one where I did have the luxury of letting it sit for a little while before I had to review it. And the more I thought about that movie, the more I liked it. And the more I found that this was a really, really unique and very individualistic movie, and one that I'd really urge people to see in a theater, to kind of get a sense of the photography that I just don't think they're ever. I don't care how big your TV is. I don't think it's.
No, it's not going to have the same impact.
I thought it was overall just solid.
Really?
Was that one of your two picks, or do you have?
You know, I'd almost have to put it up there, partly on the unique scale. I mean, other than that, I'm going pretty commercial Hollywood, and I loved all three of our big superhero adaptations this summer, and Rock of Ages, which I know a lot of people have reviled. But I loved that movie. I thought Rock of Ages was just pure entertainment. And I'll admit, because maybe I was in my 20s during the 80s, and I have a sense of nostalgia.
For really bad music.
Listen,
Sorry.
And bad hairdos.
I laughed at that movie, okay, but the music is just...
Listen, it's like, I like Journey. I'm sorry. This is the first time anyone did sort of a nostalgia movie where it kind of spoke to me nostalgically, and maybe part of that is on a strictly personal basis. But I also thought it was funny. I thought the musical numbers were good.
I didn't love it. I wasn't really entertained other than Tom Cruise. I thought Adam Shankman did a better job with Hairspray, which I thought John Travolta was great in Hairspray.
Yeah, that's true. I love Hairspray.
Okay, that would be a whole separate debate. I like that movie, except that I thought Travolta was one of the most disastrous casting choices I had ever.
He got a Golden Globe nomination for
liked
supporting
him.
actor.
You give the Hollywood Foreign Press Association a few martinis on the house and they'll vote for anything. And that's
a whole other conversation.
Yes.
But I would almost have a hard time deciding whether I liked Marvel's The Avengers, The Amazing Spider-Man, or Dark Knight Rises the best. But this is last year we had 3 or 4 major superhero movies that came out during the course of the summer, and none of them rose to the level of any of these 3.
It was a good summer for superhero movies, I gotta say.
Well, I mean, there's a clear favorite for Avengers, in my opinion. There's a clear favorite there. 2 of my favorite films of the summer, one has got to be Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
I'd almost gotten it out of my head.
Steve Carell and Keira Knightley, I loved it. I embraced it. I thought it was powerful. The ending is quite good. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a favorite of mine, but it spoke to me. It affected me. It definitely did.
And when it's funny, it is funny, but not too often. Really not. It's mostly a drama.
That's true.
Yes.
It's definitely not funny too often. And it did have me praying for the end of the world.
Wow.
Jim,
that's high praise.
Why didn't it speak to you? What was the problem with it for you?
Well, the ending is the most depressing thing since On the Beach, but
it's not depressing. It's what would happen.
I think an asteroid destroying the world and watching a young woman sobbing in fear before they all are about to roll the credits is depressing.
That was a spoiler right
yes,
there. Yeah.
Yes. But Carell was trying to comfort her anyway.
I thought he gave a terrific performance.
Yes.
And I have to say, she gave a terrific performance as well. And she doesn't always. She does with a good director.
Right.
She does. I just like... Keira Knightley's performance is about the only thing in that movie that kept me from throwing sharp objects at the screen.
Really?
And that's, I have, when we get to the list of the stuff we really disliked, I mean, that movie, I was just like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Is it over yet?
We get to have this conversation again.
Yay!
I'll try to think of a better way to put it. It's like, it's like the Meatloaf song, now I'm praying for the end of time.
Carell was a lot better here than he was in Hope Springs.
Carell factored prominently in two movies I really despised this summer.
I didn't love Hope Springs. I hated Hope Springs.
Are we going on to movies we hate now?
We'll do that.
We will be in the next segment. Really quickly, Ruby Sparks, my favorite movie this summer. It's delightful. It's charming. If you haven't seen it yet, you have got to see Ruby Sparks. It will surprise you. Those are our favorite films of the summer.